Okay, trials for this week. Damage Vaporizers, first one up. Two categories. If you are a Cantina Sweat, you are going to care about doing this maximally as a solo trialer. You're going to be doing this on Spaceport Close Scrutiny, if in rotation. So Close Scrutiny Spaceport is best for solo trialers, but if you can't get that one, Buried City Close Scrutiny, even Dam Close Scrutiny, just a little more logistics questions with those. So if you can get Spaceport, take it. Maximally, what you're after for a solo player is 26 or more vapes. This is going to be your best shot. It's going to equal about 50,000 points if the calculations don't change. They have about 1,500 health each, 1.3 points per one damage. For this time around, that's 1,950 points per vape. And so this time, 50,000 points are possible as a solo player. This is also a zero-sum trial. You do not get to share the points. And so if anybody damages your vapes, that's points you don't get. So obviously you want to get to them first, and ideally you'll have a lobby to yourself to try all of this. You'll need wolf packs, of course, for this. A full inventory of them if you can swing it. You know, standard strat here, proc the shield, wait the 7 seconds for the shield to go down, toss the wolf pack just before the shield does, so that way you hit it first, and then move on to the next. Farm all the natural spawns, hope people are procking the assessors to call in more, pull all of them to you in a central location. You can do this either from a zip train across the middle, or you can do it from way up on top of the launch tower. Standard kit is going to end up being, a jupe, snap, meds, bajillion wolf packs. And that's it. If you're not going to be pushing solo craziness for the Cantina Sweat level stuff, here's how you succeed as a sane person. Any close scrutiny will do for our purposes here, and what you should be aiming for is roughly 10 vaporizers to yourself. And that means about 10 wolf packs that you bring in. And if you don't have the wolf pack blueprint, and if you can't be bothered to get it, and you don't want to farm the drivers and all of that stuff for the wolf packs, then this means bringing in something like a Jupiter and just damaging them from afar. And you just take pop shots at them, and hopefully over the course of an entire match, you can do most of the damage to something like 10 vaporizers. That'll land you something like 20,000 points, and that is a great score. So that is the strategy for all of the sane people out there. Next trial for this week, destroy wasps. Now this one is new. Historically, there have been damage wasps where, the damage is what counts. In this case, you need to be the one to kill the wasp. In order for it to count, you have to be the one to kill the wasp. Whether you're a casual or a Cantina Sweat doing this, you have to be the one to take it down in order for it to matter. So you're in competition against everybody else as well as the clock as usual. The sweats, you're going to want Riventide's Knight, I guess. This is speculation on my part here, because it might be the case that the best strat is still an entire inventory loaded up with snitch scanners. An entire looting cautious filled up with snitch scanners that you just toss on cooldown and you wipe them all out. Bring in something like Renegade to shoot them out, and something like a Bobcat if you're feeling particularly spicy, so that you can take the light ammo off of them and that you can kill them with that. So personally, based on the numbers I've run and what I've seen others do, this can be run on any map if you're doing it with the snitch scanner method, and sweats will be able to, with good aim and good timing and hustle, be able to get 100 wasps killed here as a solo. 100 wasps. 250 points per wasp, 100 wasps, 25,000 points. That's what you should be able to get solo if you are a Cantina Sweat on this trial. And sane people should be able to get about 60 wasps. If you're trialing and if you're pushing and you are giving it an honest effort here and you run the entire match with intentionality here, 60 wasps is within reach. The best in the world will be pushing 100. For the sane people, more like 60 something. And this will be an excellent score. Now, you can do this with snitch scanners, which is historically the best way to do this. Fill up your inventory with some basic ammo for your weapons of choice that you're going to use to bring these down. You could bring in a Jupiter so you can snipe these from far away if you're actually going to be pulling from around the map. Or if you're a sane person and you really want this to be easy, have half of your inventory be seeker grenades and half of your inventory be snitch scanners. They stack 5 and 3 respectively. And so you can do your math to figure out how many snitch scanners you want to bring in. It'll call in 2 wasps per scanner. You drop those, throw a seeker for each one, especially now that they've patched the seeker grenades, they should be working again. And you don't even need to do any shooting. Maximum efficiency to bring them down 2 seeker grenades per snitch scanner. And you just go off somewhere on the side of the map, like on Spaceport, where people won't bother you, somewhere out in the sticks, preferably near some sort of extract so you can get there with some sort of time, and call them all in. Do that for the entire match. You get about 60 wasps, and that's a great score. Next trial, deliver Carriables. You're going to want Dam. Specifically, in my estimation, Matriarch or Harvester. So there are fewer people focused on this. You're more likely to have people focusing on the big battles in these matches, so you can be left to your trial. You get 13 Carriables delivered, seems to be the maximum amount to me based on my own testing. I could find 2 field crates per field depot. There's 12 of those there. And then the added thing of Dam is there's also now a deliverable battery since the hurricane mode was introduced in the controlled access zone. So that gives you 13 deliverables for the map. more than the rest by my count. Could be wrong. Open to correction. Let me know in the comments. You get 500 points per delivered, times that 13, 6,500 points that you can get solo on this trial. For 3 stars, 6 field crates. They're 500 points each. Get those 6 and you get your 3 stars. And that's what the sane people will do versus the Cantina Sweats, who will go for every single one of them on the map and the battery that's in the controlled access zone. Okay, and this is another zero-sum trial. If someone else delivers a carryable, it's gone, they're irretrievable, and so you've got to get to them before anybody else does. You don't need to do any prep for this trial. Your kit's going to include a lot of stims and a snap, standard basic things to get around the map quickly. I'm going to pop up a map on screen for where the field depots are on damn battlegrounds. Within a couple hundred yards of each of those will be the field crates. So pop a stim, grab one of those, jog your ass over to one of the field depots, put that thing in, and then there's obviously the one in the controlled access zone. You find it at the bottom, drop it into the register up on the top level. Now, some unknown here. I don't know. I couldn't confirm if there are always 2 deliverable field crates per field depot. And so you let me know in the comments, can there be 3? Is there sometimes only 1? Let me know, and we'll get this sorted out together. Okay, next trial is open containers in the Port Authority building on Riven Tides. This is another new trial here. You're gonna want Riven Tides Night Raid. This is a better chance of somebody using the keys because there are 2 locked doors in the Port Authority building. There are, by my count and my testing, 70 containers, give or take a few based on RNG, in the Port Authority building and around it on the ground within the envelope of what counts, okay, or what should count. And that includes the classified records key room, and there's another key room inside of that key room called the secure storage room. So there are 40 containers in the unlocked portions of the building, in and around and on top of the building. But including those 2 key rooms, that's 30 more containers. So for maximum points, bring your own keys or do this at night when somebody else will hopefully have used theirs. If you're not interested in getting the perfect score on this and you're not going to be rinsing and repeating it for maximum points and you want your 3 stars, then you should find roughly 40 containers starting underneath the building, way down in the sand. There's some breachable boxes down and around the building. Those will count. There's a container over to the north side of it that often has lootable bins. Those will count as well. And then within the building, top to bottom, and including on the roof, which you can get to from one of the balconies, even without a snap hook, you can get up there. There should be breachable containers there. There's also catwalks on the outside that include breachable containers, and you should find about 40 outside of the locked rooms. If you don't want to worry about the key cards and all of that stuff, you should be able to find about 40 containers, and that's a really good score. 200 points per container, roughly 70 containers. You can expect something like 14,000 points in this trial as a solo or as a squad. It won't matter. The points will be shared. This one is not zero sum. It is containers. Now, they said open containers, but there seems to be a language barrier here with Embark, and they use words like open and search and loot interchangeably. But no, historical precedent for this is that they are shareable, just like open containers or search containers in traffic tunnels. Everybody can. So you're not competing with everybody else. Everybody can open the things. What you need to do to prep for this is farm keys. If you don't have them, get the keys to those rooms. Again, that's the classified records and secure storage keys. Strat for this, run. Open the containers. You don't need to loot them, but you can. There's plenty of time. It's a small building, so there's plenty of time to loot everything and still open every container. So, you know, do you. Take your time. The only science that's unknown to me here is exactly how far out the envelope of points of what counts is out into the sand. And occasionally an arc probe will land near the building. And we won't know until the trial is live whether or not those can be breached and those points count. So let me know in the comments what you find out about those and whether or not the probes that land near the building count for points. And let me know anything that I missed. Damage arc using a single explosive mine. Another new trial this week. Sweats. We're going to be doing some science on this, Cantina, to see what we can get maximum points with. Sure, you could do the standard shredder herding in Stella, but the fact that this isn't a throwable and is a planted mine changes the dynamic quite a bit for dropping it into the midst of a bunch of shredders. And so it may be the case that best practices turn to something like Matriarch or Queen cores. Now, my theorizing here is that the best scores that you could get on this involve calling in some snitch scanners on the back of the Matriarch while she's standing still, plant the mine on the exposed core just before the Wasps spawn in. It will pop up, it will do damage to the Wasps above and damage to the Queen core below. You bring multiple mines in for multiple attempts, bring in multiple snitch scanners for multiple attempts, snap hook obviously to get on top, something to pop the top. That's it. That's all you need to give this thing a shot. Beyond that, you're gonna need the explosive mine blueprint. If you don't have that already, you're gonna need that thing. Points, don't know. This will be an interesting one. One heavy fuse grenade under a bombardier gave 3.9 thousand points in previous trials. Seems like that might be expected here, somewhere around 4,000 points for sweats. If you are a sane person and not a Cantina sweat, this is going to look an awful lot like having the blueprint for an explosive mine and then planting one underneath the bombardier. You sneak up on it, you get fairly close walking behind it, plant it on the ground, and while it's charging up its explosive little radius thing, and then it'll detonate, you get the heck out of there. They are light armored critters, and so it'll take a bunch of damage to its underside and to its limbs. For previous trials using like heavy fuse grenade and stuff, this is the second best choice for people who have no interest in climbing on top of something like the matriarch or the queen, or herding shredders for that matter. And so planting one of these underneath one of the big arc is a solid second option. It's 10 points per 1 damage done for this trial, and so you can roughly expect to get about 4,000 points from 1 mine under 1 bomba. I would bring meds in case you get hurt for this thing. Stims, obviously, so you don't need to slow down when you're going through this scariness. A snap hook if you're comfortable using one, and I always recommend you do get comfortable using them, and extra explosive mines so you can have multiple attempts on this trial. And that's it. Good luck on your trials. Remember, in trials, the clock is your enemy.